Hello, my people. Today is day number 3 of month number 10, October 2020, on Multi-Needs Solution International Initiatives live broadcast. You are welcome. Stay tuned. That means tune and listen to our discussion. Your comments and suggestions are welcome and will be appreciated. If you do so, and on when you choose to give your comment and suggestions. On this broadcast today, we are going to be giving our reaction, our assessment, our evaluation to the live broadcast given by the president of this great country, Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, on the 1st of October, the day that Federal Republic of Nigeria received this great country from our colonial masters. The day our freedom was given to us. For me, I am going to take you back, and I'm going to ask that we go back to the time, to the back to 1960, when our independence, our freedom was given to us by the colonial masters. But before I do that, you may recall that the president's speech covered all of his achievements. He scored himself in that speech, gave himself a very good mark. He brought to our notice, he brought to our knowledge, he told us all of the things that he has achieved since he was voted into power. The road that we have traveled with him in his governance structure, what he has accomplished. He talked about the challenges that are still lie ahead, what we still need to do more to get to where we should be. That is all the things that was contained in his speech. But before we get to the speech itself, I do want to take us back to when we received Nigeria from our colonial masters. But I'm one of those that have always said, and it has always been my belief, that what we actually have in Nigeria are not founding fathers, but receiving fathers. Because when we receive our freedom, when our freedom was granted to us, when our independence was granted to us, that means we are to govern ourselves without supervision, independently, without taking instructions and orders from the colonial masters. But when we received it, what did we do with Nigeria? With all the diversity, the cultural diversity, the traditional customized diversity, the religion diversity, 350 ethnic tribes that is taunting us today, that is causing our division and our disunity today. All these were not factored in. Yes, but even at that, none of our leaders, none of our receiving fathers, that many refers to as our founding father, did not foresee that. They had a constitution, and all these were not factored into the constitution. We did not factor. There was no change. We did not factor all of these diversities, all of these differences into that constitution. But even on that, one still needs to give them credit. One still needs to laud them. One still needs to give praise to them. One still needs to appreciate what they have done, to fight so hard, to work so hard to give us our independence. A lot of meetings, a lot of engagements took place in the Freedom House in the United Kingdom. But as soon as we receive our independence, The Constitution was made, but when they drafted the Constitution, all of these things were left out. We simply just copied their system, leaving out all these differences we have in our country. All this ethnicity that is coming back to haunt us today. They were not drafted into the Constitution. But even at that, things were going well. As the way it was, the Constitution the way it was, the regions, southern region, northern regions, one thing, there was competition, quite all right, which is, among the regions, all these that are missing today. But you all may recall that post-independence, post-Nigeria independence, until the military takeover, we can't be discussing Nigeria without discussing the antics of the military that came into power in 1966. What did the military do? They dismantled that constitution. They swept it aside, brought their own constitution. The centralized power, brought all the powers to the federal government. The management of all the resources of all the regions to the federal government. But you may recall that one of the reasons they came into power was that there was corruption. That our then leaders were corrupt. That they were not focusing on developing Nigeria. They were focusing on themselves. They were amassing their own wealth. They were greedy. They accused them of all sort of things to justify their coming to power. They took power with guns. Lives were taken. People were assassinated. Our political leaders, some of them were assassinated. But prior to the 1966, the first coup in 1966, which you cannot leave out. I'm talking about 1964 Action Group crisis in the West. There is no way today that you will talk about the crisis in this country, the disunity in this country, because all of the problems and the challenges and the crisis we are having today, part of it is rooted into that Action Group crisis in the West. So when the military came, when they took power, they walk away from the parliamentary system of governance, which is much, much cheaper than the presidential system of governance we're operating in Nigeria today. My question with this, we are simply, we copy, leaving out all these differences we are having, the diversities, the widening diversities we are having in Nigeria. Now, we are having challenges in managing these diversities. The military centralized power, they brought all the things, all the agitation, all the protests, all the angers today that the federal government have to deal with, are all arising from the centralized governance, the centralized resources, the control of all the resources from the states. And then the states now have to wait. They have to travel to Abuja for handouts. Then all that. Nigeria was known for farming, cocoa farming, groundnut farming, cotton farming, rubber farming. Rubber, if you still travel to the old Bender states, in Sapele area, you see rubber plantations, lots and lots of rubber plantations. Cocoa in the west, cotton, groundnut in the north. We were living on it before the advent, the coming of the oil exploration. Now, people all gradually over time, people drifted to the city. They got away from farming. They want to seek gainful employment. Then over time, people now are saying, let's restructure the country. Let's give us control of our resources. Rather than the federal government bringing all to the center, we want to control our resources. Let us pay this percentage, that percentage to the center, instead of the federal government giving us these small percentages that we have to share. There's agitators from that. There are also agitators by some of those for some states that we want to secede. We are marginalized. We are not a part of Nigeria. Everything in Nigeria today is trivialized, politicized, religionized. It's based inside religion, politics, little things that has now plagued Nigeria, haunting Nigeria, taunting Nigeria, drawing back our developments. Because we are practicing system of governments that are not rooted into our diversities, our cultural differences, religious differences, regional differences. So we need to take a step back and look at all this. Yeah, but that brings me back now to the speech. 2014, the president, well, of course it was obvious that the president was going to be a contestant in that election. He made it known. President Muhammadu Buhari is well known for his integrity, honesty, excellence, honorable attributes, excellent characters, good characters. People saw him as the Messiah, as the man that will bring Nigeria out from poverty, from corruption, underdevelopment. He was elected. But when they came into power, there were all kinds of evidences here and there that the previous governments, before his own, looted the treasury, leaving him with nothing to operate, to structure the country, to restructure the country. It's been a tough time. Yeah, the president did something. He did something with the challenges, with the limited resources he has, with the challenges he has. Whereas the country is still plagued with more insecurity today, more kidnapping, more banditry, more killings, more protests, more and more people, groups saying we are marginalized. We are more marginalized than ever. More and more groups now saying that the country is now more divided under the president. But I want us to take a seat back. Do we all agree? Would we agree to all of this? But again, what some persons are saying is that in this government, there's more nepotism, there's more impunity. I can just do what I like. I can appoint my brothers and sisters, my friends, and nothing will happen. One lopsided appointment. This is what some persons are claiming that this administration is doing. That is leading to more and more unity. More and more issues are politicized, trivialized. More and more decisions are deeply rooted into religious beliefs, cultural beliefs. That is one side. It's either it's a Christian or it's a Muslim. But we have not been able to get over that. We have not been able to get away from this is black, this is Muslim, this is Christian. This is north, this is south. This is what we are having in this country today. Today we are seeing more and more lacking of road networks. All our roads are bad. You want to travel from Abuja through Kefi, to Taraba, to Adamawa, you have no road. The roads are there. They are not good. They are filled with gullies. They are filled with potholes. You want to travel from Abuja through Kaduna to Kano, to Maiduguri, the roads are not good. They are bad. You want to travel from Abuja to Lokoja to Edo State, the roads are bad, filled with gullies, filled with potholes. Lights, the light infrastructure, they are down. So many communities, so many villages at the grassroots level, at the local, so many local communities have not seen light before the president came into power, and have still not seen light in the last almost 6 years now that he's in power. And over 1 trillion, so much money, over 1 trillion has been pumped into the power sector. We are still having blackouts. Although we are receiving so much revenue, so much taxes are being paid, duplicity of taxes, of taxation. There's more hardship, more sufferings, more poverty, more unemployment, complicated by this recent COVID-19 that has come to plague over 200 countries in the world. In addition to all of this, the fuel price has just been increased. The tariffs on electricity have just been almost doubled. The president in his speech was comparing Nigeria to Ghana, to Niger Republic, to Saudi Arabia, and some others. But was the president really fair? Let's talk about Saudi Arabia for a moment. Yes, 168 naira or thereabout per liter to 160 or 161 naira per liter in Nigeria. Saudi Arabia, they have refineries. We don't have refineries here in Nigeria, quite all right. But, however, what we have in Saudi Arabia, we don't have the road Saudi Arabia. We don't have the healthcare system. We don't have the road network system. We don't have the school system that Saudi Arabia has. I'm talking about infrastructure, so I'm not talking about human resources. We have human resources here. We have natural resources. But are they developed? Why? Why are they not developed? Why are they not tapped fully? Isn't it because of corruption? Corruption is still very much here. The president says that yes, when they increase the tariff, when they increase the fuel, the pump price, their reason was that yes, no more subsidy. We are taking subsidy away. So in my own opinion, I'm not sure that, if I'm not sure that that comparison was justified. Because the development they have in Saudi Arabia, you can see it on ground, but you can't see development you can't trace development that has come into place in this country. With all of the money, all the oil money that has come in here, that come in daily, and the accumulated revenue that has come to Nigeria. So the comparison, in my opinion, and certain person's opinion, says that the comparison was not a balanced one. So what am I saying here? We need to do more. The tariffs, the increase in electricity tariff to almost double, is it justified? I'm not against the government increasing the tariff on electricity. But if people can see the light, we all know that no investor is going to come to Nigeria if they are not going to have power to operate their machines. Because it takes electricity, it takes power to operate factory machines, productive machines for production in the factory. It's going to take electricity to generate, to make water, to drive the flow of water. Factories need water to operate. Factories need electricity to operate. Factories need good roads to move goods from their point of production to the point of sale. Let's talk about farmers for a bit. Our government has talked so much about farming. Let's diversify from oil into farming, into mining. Let's talk about farming. Farmers have no road. They have no road to move their goods from their farm to the market. I experimented on it. I traveled to Taraba. In 2017, I did a little farming there in Taraba. We had difficulty. We were not able to move our produce from the farm to the market. It was a challenge. Now, well, when you raise the pump price, because of the lack, the missing, and the lacking of good road network, if you manage to move the produce from the farm to the market, that is going to raise the price. And the price will be passed on to the end users, to the receiving consumers, by the middlemen, those adding value to the movement, the transportation, the transporters, those that are selling it in the market, that are receiving it from the middle people bringing it into the market. Each of the value chain is going to definitely raise the price, and the price is going to be passed on to the end users. So many things are wrong with that need to be corrected. But at this timing, the timing of the increase in the pump price and the timing of the increase in the tariff is not justified, of the increase. I wish that the government was a little bit more sensitive to the people's needs, to the poor. This is what has really elevated now and enlarged sufferings and the hardship that our people are going through. But I am aware that the federal government has said there's no going back on this increase in the fuel pump. But I think that I am going to suggest that the government may need to revisit that decision, that policy. Because when you travel to the local communities, in the villages in the state, you will see suffering, you will see poverty 101, suffering 101, hardship 101, hunger 101. People are hungry, they go to bed, some are dying. The drugs have become more expensive, food has become more expensive, some go to bed without eating. I'm not talking about Abuja. When you live in Abuja, you see all these mansions, all these fine buildings, these beautiful, expensive vehicles in our road, the good roads we have in our city. But you travel to the village, they have no road. They have no electricity. They have no pipe-borne water. Many have no money to dig borehole. They drink rainwater. They drink flood water. All of these need to be considered. But saying all of this, yes, every Nigerian person, the private sector, every individual here in this country need to give collaboration, need to cooperate with the government, need to join with the government. We can't just keep going on and on in circle. This is not how we can prosper this nation. The way we can prosper this nation is the sincerity on the side of the government. Sincerity on appointments. Merit appointment system. We need to revisit how we appoint people. But I'm talking about political appointment now. We have to revisit that. I'm not particularly against who you appoint, whether you appoint your friend, your relative, but we will not see development here. We will not be greeted with development if we don't bring in qualified, sensitive people that can come and initiate and originate and prospect people policy, sensitive policies to meet people's needs. Not just paper policies, but the implementation of such policies. One thing that can just come to my memory now is this issue of farming that the government has promoted. 50 billion that immediately after COVID-19, CBN talk about 50 billion they want to distribute to small-scale businesses. How many people receive it? People applied 3 months ago. Some people have been interviewed 3 months. I know people that have spoken with me. I was called by the custodian of that fund, the manager of that fund 3 months ago. But since that 3 months, I've not heard from them. Those kind of policies. But policies are made, but policies have to be implemented. These are some of the changes. This is some of the changes we need to make in this country. Corruption. Corruption has eaten away our development. It has swallowed it. It has been plaguing our country since the military era. You may recall that, you may know that it's those people, those military people, is many of them that are in government today. It's many of their surrogates. It's many of their friends and cronies that are in politics today, that are everywhere. Federal level, state level, local level. Because they have money. They have money to sponsor these candidates, whether they are qualified or not. So the other thing we need to do that I suggest is electoral reform. The president really needs to send this bill to the National Assembly. At least it's a legacy that you'll be remembered for. So that qualified people, we can have qualified people in the National Assembly. We can have creative people, scientific thinkers in the National Assembly that are going to promote bills, laws that are people-oriented. People that have relationship with their constituent members. People that will visit their constituent members. People that will be sensitive to the needs of their constituent members. If our election is not free, if it's not fair, if it's not credible, if people's votes are not counted, we are not going to be able to have qualified thinkers in our National Assembly, federal level, state level, local level. But I am hoping that the president will begin to think about this and send this bill to National Assembly and demand National Assembly to debate it, to look at the bill, pass it and send it to him for signature, so that we can begin to have electoral process where when people vote, the votes are counted, so that we begin to have elections where people are not set on fire, houses are not set on fire, so that we can begin to have elections that will be free from the shooting of guns, killing of people, so that we can begin to have elections that people are not buying votes, people are not distributing wrappers, money, 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira that will not be enough to cook a soup or a stew for a family of 4. Because one politician gets into the office, that is the first money they will want to let me steal. Let me just steal what is given to me for my constituent development. These politicians, they borrow this money, they sell their houses so that they can buy people's votes, so that they can sponsor talks. We can clean up our system. We do not need someone, we do not need the Germans, the Americans, the Chinese, the British to come and teach us how we can run our country, how we can prosper our country, how we can develop our country. We can do all these things here. We have all the resources here, human resources, natural resources. We have the people, we have the mind here. Nigerian brain can compete with any brain anywhere in the world, even better. I did my education, I did all my schooling in the United States. We can compete. But what is missing, the difference between those countries and Nigeria, there is no merit system here. If you are qualified, you don't have the job. It's not those that are qualified. It's not those that can think that get the job. All that is deeply rooted into corruption. When you talk about corruption, it's not just about stealing cash. It's about oppression. It's about discrimination. It's about nepotism. It's about impunity. Governance is not about only you and your family members. Governance and government is for the people. So, I am suggesting here strongly that the president should revisit that concept of electoral process reform, so that we can begin to have a free, fair election, all elections, national election at the federal level, state election, and local government election. My people, regarding the speech the president has gave to the country, which I have navigated through with all of you listening, all of the things that he itemized for us, all of the things he mentioned that he has done. I know that, yes, the president has done something. I know that the president has not placed this country where the country should have been based on his campaign promises. Eliminating insecurity or improving insecurity. Instead, the security got worse. More deaths, more kidnapping, more banditry. The president promised to improve infrastructure on electricity. That has not happened. The president promised us quality in education. That has not happened. The president promised us to eliminate corruption. That has not happened. Under his word, there's still corruption going on every day in this country. All you need to do is travel on the highway. 100 naira is exchanging hand. The president has been focused more on the white-collar corruption. What about those corruption on the low level going on in the highway? Security personnel collecting 100 naira, 50 naira. even some lives have been lost. When road user refuses to give this 100 naira. We know that has not happened. We know that the benefits of democracy, the dividend of democracy that this government promised us in the campaign leading to its election 2015 has not yet happened. We are not there. But they have done things to take us there. So, what I'm suggesting in closing is that we have to help the governments. We have to work closer to the government. I know that today there's more cry, more clamor on secession. Let us go. We want to go. We are marginalized. We don't belong to Nigeria. We have no reason to say we are Nigerians. More and more people are claiming that. More and more people, Nigerian people, are saying that. We want to secede. We want to have our own. More and more people are saying, let us control our resources. Other groups are saying, let's control our resources. Let's restructure our economy. Let's restructure our government. Let's restructure our political system. What we have now is not working. Let's give more powers to the state. More and more people are saying that as well. More and more people are saying that this country is now more divided. Politicians, certain persons in the political cycle are saying it. Business cycle are saying it. Individuals are saying it. Groups are saying it. That more and more disunity is swallowing Nigeria. But one man cannot do it alone. The president cannot do it alone. You can say that let's just break apart because this government has not fulfilled the promises they made. But if you go back, we have to take the underdevelopment, the liabilities that this government inherited. But I'm not one of those that will give excuse for the government. I'm not one of those that will say here the white man, that the British, the colonial masters, gave us a fragmented system. We copied their system. We modeled their system. This is why I've always said we don't have founding father. If we had founding father, what they should have done when they received Nigeria, they should have known ahead of time to know that we have so many diversities, we have so many differences that we need to fight. When with this constitution we are going to be using to operate Nigeria, we need to look at those different components that can impact our ability to govern. We need to accommodate them. We need to tolerate them into our constitution. That was not done. Crisis here and there brought in the army because they didn't. It was not done what should have done. The army did like the colonial masters. They brought power to the center to make it easy for administration. But that introduced very high-level corruption into Nigeria, which is still plaguing Nigeria today, and is becoming more and more worse. So what we can do now? For what we have now, because Nigeria as a country is the country you have. We don't have another country to go to. While we are building to have a great nation, a great developed nation, quality education, quality road network. Now, what we need to do is to lend our cooperation and collaboration with the government. Yes, we can do this. It's achievable. It can be done. We have the means. We have the resources. Yes, the government has failed in some of the promises. They have done something in all the areas they said they were going to minimize, improve, yet, but they have failed in achieving the level we should have achieved after 5 years. So we have to give our cooperation to the government. All hands have to be on deck with the government so that we can have a great, better Nigeria that we can be proud of. so that you and I can be proud to be a Nigerian everywhere we go to.